So once you're all set up with the Lattice plugin, the setup page will guide you through some of our recommended settings. Again, these are all recommendations. You don't have to follow them. The modern homepage that we have is a little bit better than the default ones that come with Trellis. We want to avoid generally displaying things just in chronological order. If you're currently using a custom homepage, so just a page, this may or may not be useful to you. But if you are using just widgets or a chronological based homepage, this is definitely something we recommend. So the modern homepage, all we're going to do to get this set up, you can create this from scratch, but we have a little button here just to expedite it for you. So it's going to pre-fill a bunch of the information. Obviously, you're going to want to set your page title to a custom one, but the general outline that we have here is that we've broken the homepage down into sections. So the first section will typically be your trending recipes. So in Google Search Console over the last typically 30 days, you're going to want to put up the recipes that are performing well so that they can continue to be optimized. So anything at the very top of the page, Google tends to give a little bit of an SEO boost for. So I recommend using this kind of setup for a trending recipes up top, and you can use the post IDs for specifying exactly which posts, or if you have a category you simply want to feature, you can use that as well. So after that, we have a scheduled categories block, which is very similar to our FSRI, which is our post ID block. Scheduled categories is basically the same, except instead of choosing the categories, you'll set a date range for what will show up here. So you can have seasonal, such as Christmas recipes or Thanksgiving or St. Patrick's Day recipes, automatically populate on the homepage depending on the time of the year. We typically include a search block on the homepage just so that if somebody knows what they're looking for, they can jump directly into it. And then we've broken it down into our top 3 categories, for example. You don't have to follow this exact format. You can have 1 or 2, you could have 4 or 5. I wouldn't go too crazy on this. 10 categories would be excessive, but what you're trying to do is break down the homepage into, in our case, we typically use recipes. So for example, dinner would be a category that we want to feature on the homepage. And because we've selected this include category H2 and include category link, it will automatically fill in the heading, the H2 here as the category name. Same thing down here, will automatically link to the dinner category on this site down here. So it automatically optimizes for SEO a little bit. These do not automatically pre-populate and update over time. Not sure if we have lunch here, we do. So you can see that if there's some missing, you can exclude previous. So one of the features that we have in this is that the posts will exclude anything that is displayed above it. Now the block editor doesn't work as well as the front end, so always test on the front end, but it'll exclude any previously displayed posts so that you're not displaying the same post twice. That's a bad user experience. Google doesn't like that either. So what you want to do is make sure anything's only excluded once. So by default, you're going to exclude any previous posts, but you can select to disable that if, for example, there's not enough. So in this category here, the lunch one, we only have 1 post, which is why it's only showing 1. We have an about author profile. So EEAT is a big quality signal for Google. We do want them to know who is running this website. So typically you'll have a picture of yourself and then a link to your about page down here. So there's again an H2 here for SEO. So you'll put about your name and then make up a little bit of a profile for yourself. We put the recent recipes or recent posts, if you're not a recipe site, down at the very bottom because typically this isn't the most relevant thing. People are coming to your website looking for topical content as opposed to what you wrote last week. We do still want to be indexed, so it is on the homepage, but it's down near the bottom. And we also want updated posts to be indexed, so the updated posts are down here as well, and that will be controlled by the order by modified. So when it's ordered by modified, that will display the recently updated. So the one thing that we recommend adding to this is using a full width layout for the post. So we're on the page options here, and we're going to use a full width layout. Once we publish this, we're going to head over to, again, make sure you rename this to something relevant to your website, typically your website name or anything you want to rank for. Once you have this published, you'll go into settings and into reading, and we're going to set a static homepage as the modern homepage. So we already had one in this case. We'll go ahead and set that and save it, and that will set it on the homepage.